Now, obviously, the Lionesses are a massive topic today, but do you care? And if you didn't, would you dare admit it? Because it seems like women's football has become the new current thing that we all have to celebrate if we don't want to get cancelled. Even Prince William had to apologise and explain why he wasn't going to attend the final. So to discuss this, I'm joined by General Secretary of the Free Speech Union and co-host of the excellent Weekly Sceptic podcast, Toby Young, who's written a cheeky piece for The Spectator entitled, "Am I allowed to make fun of women's football?" So, Toby, did you get the answer to your question?
Yeah, the answer's no, Nick. If you made fun of women's football today, I think you risk being sent to prison for at least 2 years. One of the hallmarks of our soft totalitarian society is that there are certain things you're forbidden to enjoy, like, the poetry of Rudyard Kipling, the novels of P.G. Wodehouse, the jokes, the stand-up routine of Graham Linehan, completely verboten. But there are also certain things it's mandatory to enjoy. You're not allowed not to enjoy them. And women's football, I'm afraid, falls into that category. I imagine there are plenty of men, football fans, who were under a 3-line whip this morning to watch the final, and woe betide the man who joked to his wife or his girlfriend that there were nail technicians on the kind of medical team, or that when a woman was taken off to get her hair fixed, he made a gag about, having to get it curled or permed or something along those lines. If it was forbidden to joke about women's football today of all days.
Yeah, and I condemn that misogyny from you there, Toby, absolutely. But, in the Sadiq Khan advert, it was like, if you said women's football wasn't that good, that was considered basically one notch from sexual assault. And someone had to step in and go, "Mate, why are you saying that?" And then John Sopel tweeted that, why are Rishi Sunak and Prince William, why are they not at the game? And it's a disgrace and all this kind of thing. So it's almost like when Jordan Peterson talked about compelled speech. Remember when he said that? It's like you're compelled to like the women's football. But Toby, for broadcast regulations, I also have to say, aren't you being a killjoy? I mean, they're a great team. People are loving it across the country. And here's you in the corner going, I want to just mock women's football.
Yeah, I think luckily we just about have enough free speech in our society to protect people who want to have a bit of a laugh about women's football. For me, it's not that I want to belittle the achievement of the Lionesses or in any way discourage teenage girls from playing football. It's just the element of compulsion, as you say, which slightly gets my goat. It's this notion that you have to enjoy it, you have no choice, that there's something remiss about Rishi Sunak and Prince William for not going to Australia, for not being enthusiastic enough. And, it's one thing to be lectured by women about this. I mean, they have a dog in the fight. That's understandable. It's when men get their fingers in your face and tell you should be enjoying it. And if you describe it as a bit of a joke, then you must be a misogynist, about to rape somebody. When men lecture you about it, it's as though they don't really care themselves about women's football. They probably don't know much about it, to be honest. They're just trying to differentiate themselves from kind of less enlightened, less sophisticated men lower down the kind of class hierarchy than them. There's an element of snobbery involved, which really kind of sticks in my craw.
Yeah, I got that. I was in my football team and I said, the keepers aren't that good. And someone in my football team rebuked me, said, "They've got a lot better, Nick." And I was like, I'm sorry. It was like the Sadiq Khan ad campaign. It was like, mate. And I think they should make the goals smaller. I think it is too hard. You have to be like a 6'4" acrobat to jump around those goals. They're massive. And did you also see the church when they said it's okay if you want to miss church and go to the football? Or then I heard then the bishop actually didn't exactly say that. What did you make of that?
Yeah, it's as though worshipping at the altar of gender equality is now more important than worshipping at the altar of Jesus Christ, even if you're an Anglican bishop, which was quite something. When I wrote my Spectator article, I talked a bit about Megan Rapinoe's miss. So she is probably the most celebrated member of the US women's football team. She's incredibly mouthy. She's super woke. She won the Presidential Medal of Honor from Joe Biden. She thinks that biological men should be able to compete against biological women in professional football. She never sings the national anthem. She, more than anyone else, I think, has kind of passionately argued that women should be paid the same as men and that there really is no difference between women's and men's football. If anything, women's football is better because they're more successful than the US men's team. So to see her miss a penalty, and it was the last penalty in the penalty shootout against Sweden, effectively, smoothing the way for Sweden to the quarterfinals. It was just glorious. It was just too great not to celebrate.
Yeah, well, I see where you're coming from. Obviously, I completely disagree. But thanks, Toby. Toby Young, everyone. So, co-host of the brilliant Weekly Skeptic podcast, and the host is very good-looking and talented. We won't say who it is. So, Francis, we've established you didn't watch the game. Paul, did you see it? I can't remember what we said.
Yes, I did watch the game.
You're a big fan, aren't you? Did you disagree with Toby on anything?
I didn't disagree with Toby on anything, actually, because the question to Toby was, should we be made to watch it? And under no circumstances should we be made to watch or enjoy something if we don't want to, based on some ideology. So, no, I don't disagree at all.
What about the audience? Did you love the women's football? Who likes it? One guy.
I think Prince William should have gone to Australia.
You think he should have gone?
I think he should have gone.
Would they have won if he'd gone?
No wonder Australia and Northern Ireland get annoyed that they don't get looked after or supported.
You're right. Well, yeah. It's kind of weird. Okay, what do you think that, Francis? Because people are saying like he should have gone to show it was important, but isn't the fact that he didn't go and the fact that Downing Street didn't have enough bunting, doesn't that just show that it actually isn't that important because there isn't a history behind it? Not because we hate women, but because there isn't the same history.
Look, first of all, I think Toby's a bit of a hypocrite, right? This is a man who pays to go and watch QPR, all right? All right. So let's make that absolutely clear. Women's football is better than watching QPR, Nick. Okay. Number one, right?
Well, we're going to have to just go on number one. Sorry, Francis. I think that point was strong enough because we've got to do the next break. So that's it for the first hour of Free Speech Nation, but don't go away because there's much more to come.